Straight ahead on the Valley today, a damaging act of vandalism disrupts family outings at a small town city park, and police are now asking for help finding out who did it.
Plus, a shocking and deadly reaction to a Fargo court verdict that no one saw coming. But first, a big fire in a small Minnesota town. Firefighters spent the night at a bean processing plant in Park Rapids, where fire caused extensive damage to one of the city's largest employers. It started around 8:30 last night at the Green Valley Bean Company on the east side of town, right along Highway 34.
The fire crews from a number of neighboring communities were then called in to help. No injuries have been reported. There's no word yet on the cause. New this morning, police are looking for whoever is responsible for vandalism at a city park in Lake Park, Minnesota.
Someone torched a bathroom at City Park last Wednesday night, and the damage is forcing the city to close the building until repairs can be made. Police are asking anyone with information on this arson to contact them. A Moorhead man is seriously hurt after his motorcycle was hit by a pickup on the city's south side. Police say 34-year-old Derek Schreiner was northbound on 34th Street South at 28th Avenue on Sunday when a pickup trying to make a turn onto 34th Street pulled out in front of him. The
driver of the pickup, 73-year-old Curtis Hirschkorn of Moorhead, was not hurt but then ticketed for failure to yield. The man who took his life in a Fargo federal courtroom is now being identified as 55-year-old Jeffrey Ferris. And we want to warn you, this story might be disturbing for some this morning. He was on trial for an April 2020 terrorizing incident on the Turtle Mountain Indian Reservation. The North Dakota U.S. Marshal's Office says that Ferris cut his own throat yesterday afternoon after a jury returned a partial guilty verdict against him.
The jury had left the courtroom, but Judge Peter Welty, courtroom staff and others witnessed the incident. A woman who was in the courtroom at the time says Ferris was facing life without parole. She says the defense attorney asked that Ferris be released until he needed to report to prison, but the judge denied that request. That's when she says Ferris cut his throat. Security officers and deputy marshals attempted life-saving measures in the courtroom, but could not save the man.
He was fidgeting with his neck, with his left hand, and then all of a sudden he turns around and you can see inside of his neck. So there was blood squirting out of his neck.
Ferris was on trial for driving a Jeep towards several children and nearly hitting them. Court documents also say that Ferris used a handgun to assault someone.
He had been charged with assault with a deadly weapon, reckless endangerment, terrorizing, and using a firearm in a violent felony.
It is now 8 minutes before the top of the hour, 58 degrees here in the metro right now, and it seems that we are off to a very sunny start again, Lisa.
We certainly are. We're looking at plenty of sunshine across most of the valley to start off today, so we got to warn you again about that UV index this time of year. The sun's rays particularly strong, and so our risk today is at 6, or a high risk. So it's a little less than yesterday. We're going to see some clouds move in later on, but a good rule of thumb is to always wear sunscreen before you step out, but you might want to grab that hat and some sunglasses as well if you're going to be outside. Burn time in 30 minutes. So keep that in mind here if you're going to be outside for any length of time here, especially as we get to that solar noon time frame in midday. This morning, lots of sun to start here in Fargo as we're looking over to the east on our Luther Family Ford Skycam. You can see that we're looking at plenty of sunshine throughout the valley and temperatures starting off into the 50s. 58 degrees in Fargo, 53 in Grand Forks, Thief River, Bemidji at 56. Fergus Falls, one of our warm spots at 59, and it's 54 degrees in Devil's Lake right now. Your wind speeds are not strong just yet. We are up to 12 miles per hour in Langdon and Hallock. That wind out of the south or southeast. It will pick up today along with that cloud cover, and not so much of that cloud cover out there just yet. The one exception is over in the James River Valley. We're seeing some clouds streaming through there here to start off this morning. So here's a look at our bus stop planner today. Expect a really quiet, easy start of things this morning. So not bad out at the bus stop to wait. Kids probably won't want their jacket. They'll be ditching them this afternoon. We're going to be into the 70s to around 80 degrees for your high today. The one exception that will be maybe not so great is that the wind's going to be a little bit strong. Steady speeds around 20, but gusts will be into the 30s, maybe even near 40 in some locations this afternoon. So getting quite breezy, and clouds will be on the increase as well. So some partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. But here's some good news. As we take a look at your planner ahead for our chances for rain, the lower the bar, the less likely we'll see anything. The higher, the more likely we will. And starting Wednesday is where I'm starting this. We've got chances for rain, some widely scattered to scattered shots of rain and thunder all the way through the weekend, and then it tapers off into next week. So a good chance for picking up some moisture, maybe more than an inch in some areas as we work our way through the week. Won't rain the entire time, but the potential is there starting tomorrow. Temperatures remain warm though, especially through the work week, 70s to low 80s, cooling off just a little bit this weekend, highs in the upper 60s to around 70.
Not bad for a cool down, though. I still like it. Thank you, Lisa.
One man is dead after a shootout with police in Western North Dakota. It happened when officers were called to a domestic disturbance involving weapons. It was around 1 yesterday morning in Dickinson. Police say a man shot at officers from inside a ground floor apartment, and then police returned fire and killed him. A woman had been shot by the suspect but is expected to survive. Police say several children were also inside the home during the shooting, but none of them were hurt. 2 officers involved in that shooting are now on standard leave.
A Minnesota man is in jail after leading troopers on a chase down I-29, then escaping from a squad car. The Highway Patrol says Douglas Rierson of Newfolden was going 95 in a 75 zone when a trooper tried pulling him over between Grand Forks and Thompson. They say he refused to get out of his vehicle after finally stopping, and when backup arrived, he kicked both troopers and bit one in the arm. Then on the way to jail, Rierson allegedly busted out a squad car window and took off running, but was quickly arrested once again. He's now facing nearly a dozen charges, including assaulting a police officer, reckless endangerment, criminal mischief, DUI, and driving under suspension. A New York man is facing drug charges and other potential offenses after allegedly causing a disturbance on a flight that was forced to divert to the Minneapolis airport. A spokesperson for JetBlue confirms that Flight 915 was headed from New York to San Francisco Sunday afternoon when a customer on board began acting erratically and aggressively toward crew members and other people on the flight.
Airport police arrested a 42-year-old man for drug possession charges. Passengers told reporters that the guy had a bag full of white substance, touched at least one woman, made inappropriate comments to numerous female passengers, and yelled racist slurs toward fellow passengers upon boarding, and then he refused to wear a mask. More than 12,000 pigs are dead after a fire at a pork farm near Waseca, Minnesota. It happened Sunday night, and officials are still trying to figure out how it started.
One of the buildings at Woodville Pork was fully engulfed in flames, and a second building caught fire shortly after. It took 9 fire departments with 20 tankers to battle the blaze. Minnesota legislators will need a special session next month to wrap up work on a new state budget. Lawmakers reached an agreement on a $52 billion state budget for the next 2 years yesterday, which was the last day of the regular session.
Their agreement comes with no tax increases, hundreds of millions of dollars in tax relief for people who got extra jobless benefits last year and businesses who got a PPP loan, plus what's being called a historic investment in education, including money for summer learning. The special session will be scheduled for mid-June. Is it a pothole gone bad? Well, that's the word this morning. We're checking out what looks like a small pothole in South Moorhead that traffic is now being diverted around this morning.
The Valley Today's Brian Sherrod is near that sinkhole and joins us live now for an update. Good morning, Brian.
And good morning, Jordan and Lisa. It may look like a small one, but it looks like a pretty deep one as you look inside as well. And as we were walking closer, we just got on scene about 20-ish minutes ago. You can see how deep this pothole actually is. You just look down and you can't even see where it ends. This is on 18th and a half Street South by the MSUM football field. And this is also a street filled with apartments, so a lot of people that are driving past this one area. Also letting you know that it is knocked down to one lane, so you aren't able to go on this side of the street, so you have to go around. It is blocked off by 4 cones and a construction fence as well. I was actually just talking to the lady who was telling us all about this pothole, and she was saying the biggest concern is there's a lot of kids that are riding their bikes around this area, so they would like to see this fixed. They also mentioned that the street department did come out here and cover this up with this fence, but when I called Moorhead said that they did not know much about it. We actually just had a patrol unit come out here. Once I reached out to them and told them all about it, they came out here to check it out themselves, so now they do know about it as well. But we'll continue to update you as we receive more. But again, this is a pretty deep sinkhole, so you want to make sure you're not driving over this. I mean, the fence itself is going to tell you not to drive over it, but just be cautious this morning.
Sinkholes kind of scare me,
And-
even if it's a small one.
Yes,
Steep.
and that is the thing with our weather that we've had now. I mean, it was actually pretty cold just up until a few days ago, and then boom, 80 degrees, roads expanding, contracting, and stuff like this happens. Brian Sherrod reporting live this morning. Thanks for the heads up.
Let's get our answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. Here's today's question. 11% of people have this in common with their pet.
The answer, they enjoy the same treats. Milk bone.
My guess is ice cream cone.
My guess is also human food that dogs like to eat, but I think it's funnier the other way. The Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start. The Valley Today rolls on. Join us now on the Fargo CW. Grab your milk bone. See you over there.